They're just loading now.
Ah, yeah.
All good to go when anyone else is.
Okay, well, I will kick us off today. Welcome, everyone. Tēnā koutou katoa. I am Gretchen Robertson, the Chair of the Regional Council, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'd just like to start with a karakia. Tue ke runga, tue ke raro, tue ke roto, tue ke waho, tue ki te here tangara, ka rongo te pō, ka rongo te ao, romie, huie, tae ki e. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Today will be one of our final sessions for the LTP consultation, and it's great that you can join us online today for that. We've been out and about around the region, dropping in and having great conversations with community right throughout the region. So if you've come along to any of those as well, thank you so much. We're going to be recording today's session, and it will go up on our website as well. So in terms of the LTP, the long-term plan, or the LTP, is really a cornerstone for setting the direction of our key work program for the next 10 years, but it focuses in really heavily on the first 3 years and then projects out for beyond that to 10 years. So we are looking to build a stronger future for the region, and you'll have a big part in saying through this consultation process how we shape that up. So to develop this LTP, we've had a look initially at what we want to achieve. We want to ensure that we've got strong and resilient communities. We're partnering with mana whenua. We're protecting our environment, addressing climate change, and providing for public transport. So you'll see in this long-term plan that there's a significant focus on public transport, on large-scale environmental projects, and on how we've also had a look at how our rates are calculated and how costs are apportioned. So those are the three significant items that you'll see in the long-term plan, and that we particularly want you to have a say on. We've entered now the formal period of consultation with the community, and we do really want to hear your feedback. This is your plan, so the purpose of today is to share the key themes from the long-term plan, ensure you're well informed, and then you'll be able to make submissions through that formal process if you would like to. And there will be hearings as well as part of that if you want to get involved. So today we'll be hearing from internal staff who will present on the LTP draft proposals, and there'll be an opportunity for you to ask further questions, and you may want to ask specific staff members who are experts on that area as well, and they'll be here throughout to be able to do that. We've had our face-to-face drop-in sessions as well occurring, as I mentioned. Thanks again if you've come. And this will be about 1 hour today, and we are going to give you a chance to open up and be able to ask questions towards the end. We would like it if we could be as respectful of other people's opinions and questions and give them some space as we possibly can. We'll be recording today's session, and as I said, it's going to go up on our website. So a few introductions today. First of all, we're joined by Richard Saunders, ORC's Chief Executive, as well as councillors I can see that we have got Councillor Alan Somerville. We've also got Councillor Lloyd McCall. We've got Councillor Tim Meffam. I'm just scrolling through here. And we may well be joined by others as well. I'll just double check. Yes, I think that could be it for the moment, but probably we'll have some more pop on. So welcome to all those councillors. We've got some staff teams here as well, and welcome as well to community members who've joined us. I'm particularly pleased to introduce you to Bridie Strang, a sign language interpreter from Dunedin, who will be supporting us and our deaf community as well. Vanessa Vidalon is our session administrator today, and she will be managing any incoming questions and making sure that I get to everyone. Feel free to raise your hand in the questioning time, or you can post a comment as well or a question, and we will come to those. We've got 4 presenters today. On environmental funding, we've got Libby Caldwell. Public transport, Lorraine Shen. Rates changes, Nick Donnelly. Flood and drainage infrastructure, Pam Wilson. So yeah, as I said, we will be just leaving the questions towards the end of this session, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you. So yeah, just reminder that you can make a formal submission as well, and we'd really welcome you to do that. So I'm going to kick off now into the presentations part, and the first presenter today will be Libby Caldwell on environmental funding. Oh no, sorry, I'm wrong. The first presenter is going to be Nick Donnelly on changing how we rate. Thank you, Nick.
Okay. Can you hear me? Did you give me a thumbs up? Yep. All right. So we're good to go. So hi, as Gretchen said, I'm Nick Donnelly. I'm the GM of Corporate and CFO. So I'm just covering off the slide here on the proposal on changing how we rate. So this is one of the 3 items that we're consulting on in this consultation document. So we're proposing changes to how we rate, which is through our revenue and financing policy. And we're trying to ensure through doing this that rates are applied fairly and that they're more workable and transparent. And what we mean by transparent is that ratepayers have a better understanding of what they're rated for and how we calculated that. It's quite comprehensive. We're changing 10 rate types, including public transport, flood and drainage schemes. They're probably where the major changes are. None of this is impacting the service. It's just about who pays for those activities and the amounts that we're spending in those activities. But the service levels are effectively the same. The proposals, because as I said, they're affecting a number of rate types, they're affecting every property in the region, and there will be variances depending on location and whether you're in particular targeted rate areas and have those services. So the key thing that we want to stress out of this, for those of you that are online, is you should go and have a look at our online rating estimator, because, as I said, it will vary for every property. There's no sort of blanket, oh, this is what's happening in particular areas. There might be generally that you can say, yeah, that area or particular district is going up or down. But, you know, some ratepayers will find theirs are going up, but equally a lot will find that theirs are going down. So we've got the link there to our rates estimator, which is on our website. I'd also stressed, and haven't mentioned this, but the rates estimator there is on our LTP landing page on the website. Also on there is a lot of other supporting information about the rates proposal that we're doing, because the consultation document, you know, has limited amount of space that we can outline what's going on. So we've summarised it there. But if you're really interested, there's a lot more information about the process that councillors went through in getting to what we've put in the consultation document, and that's right through from looking at the principles that councillors wanted to apply when they worked through the changes to the revenue and financing policy and to rates, and very detailed funding needs analysis for all of our activities. So that's all online. If you, same places where the rates estimator is, there's a supporting information tab or link there. And when you go through, it shows a whole series of other supporting documents, including a lot of the working detail that councillors went through. So if you're really interested, there's also some great information there. But if you're only going to do one thing, go online and have a look at the rates estimator, and you can see exactly what's happening to your property. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. We will leave the questions to the end. And yeah, we'll go on to the next presentation, which is investing in our environment with Libby.
Thank you. So kia ora koutou, I'm Libby Caldwell and I'm the manager of the environmental implementation team here at ORC. So one of the key items that we're consulting on is environmental funding. Currently, Otago Regional Council provides up to $1.9 million to community groups and other organisations, either directly or through contestable funds. And with that funding, we deliver environmental projects. So that's for the 2023-2024 financial year, so the year we're in at the moment. This includes through our Eco Fund, where we support community-led environmental projects. And this year we've provided a one-off investment for large-scale environmental projects focused on improving Otago's biodiversity. We've just closed our contestable funding for the year, which includes the Eco Fund, incentive funding and large-scale funding, where we have over $900,000 available in these funds and have had 66 applications to assess, with a total of $2.7 million requested from the community to undertake environmental work across the region, which shows that our current funding is heavily oversubscribed. We've also supported predator-free Dunedin for the last 5 years by providing funding of $1.5 million. So we're proposing through the long-term plan to introduce an environmental fund to deliver large-scale environmental projects to help us protect and restore the environment for the benefit of current and future generations. Large-scale environmental projects include projects that deliver benefits across multiple environmental domains and protect and restore threatened ecosystems, catchments and landscapes. This presents opportunities to expand the type and scale of projects that Otago Regional Council supports. And some examples of the type of projects that may be funded include large-scale pest control, biodiversity rehabilitation and water quality improvements. Funding large-scale environmental projects will raise awareness and empower the community to participate in environmental initiatives across our region. And we know how important the community is in achieving environmental outcomes. And supporting this ownership and activity is really important to ORC. Funding is also required to maintain the environmental gains made through projects previously funded by ORC or by central government. And supporting community groups and other organisations to take environmental action also creates the opportunity to partner with philanthropists and other organisations that have funding available. So this funding proposal is in addition to the work already funded, and our preferred option is a dedicated fund to support large-scale environmental projects with at least $500,000 in funding available in the 2025-26 financial year, which is year 2, and that the funding would be through targeted rates in the districts. We've had very strong feedback from community groups that this funding is necessary to maintain environmental gains already made, but we're seeking feedback from the public as well on this initiative to hear whether this is something that people feel is important and if the district rating that I described before is the desirable way of funding this. So it would be really great to get feedback on this initiative and hear what everyone thinks. And that is the end for me.
Thank you very much, Libby. Yeah, this is one where we really need feedback on what is affordable and what do we really value and want to invest in. So yeah, it'd be great to get some submissions on this. Right, the next topic then is investing in public transport with Lorraine.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Can everybody hear me? My name is Lorraine Chena. I'm the Manager of Transport at Otago Regional Council. Last year, people in Dunedin and Queenstown took more than 4 million trips on our buses, and this is more trips in any one year than any previous year on our networks. Some of those trips enable people who don't or can't drive a car to get to school, to university, or to work. But also increasingly, we know from the trips that are made that people are using public transport to get to appointments and also things that they want to do around the local community, such as swimming pools and visiting the town centre for trips, maybe to do with shopping or entertainment. All of those trips meant as many as 4 million cars weren't making trips on the road, either adding to congestion or pollution. And it means that people who choose to or need to drive, there's less congestion, and this also increases the chance of them finding a car park or getting access to where they need to go. And as we introduce new electric buses across our fleet, this helps to reduce the impact on the environment and climate from the effects that transport can have. Public transport is playing an increasingly important role in how people get around. In the LTP, Council is proposing to increase public transport funding over the next 10 years to build on the current services that we provide in Dunedin and Queenstown. However, we do need to strike a balance between making improvements to the public network and managing costs. In Dunedin, we're proposing to spend around 314 million on public transport over the next 10 years. The greatest proportion of this is required to continue to run the same services as we swap out the diesel buses to electric buses over that time period. We also want to make some low-cost, big benefit changes on the Dunedin network. These changes will involve running longer service times over the day, so to support people, as I said, who are using public transport to get to work, to ride a range of work, such as supporting people working on shift work at the new Dunedin Hospital and supporting people working in hospitality around the city with late finishes. We also hope to see some better frequency on some of our services that will enable people to attend more appointments, make or visits to patients, and or do short shopping trips without needing to drive and pay for car parking. Importantly, in Dunedin, the changes will also enable, as I mentioned, hospital workers who often work on shifts to be able to get to and from work by bus. And because the hospital is centrally located, the flow-on effects are it changes the services, making it easier for all people to travel to and around the city centre and access the university. In Queenstown, we are proposing to invest some 194 million on expanding bus services. This is primarily to keep bus routes pretty much the same, but over the 10-year period, we will have significantly higher numbers of buses running at 15-minute frequencies over most of the routes, and buses on all routes will start earlier and finish later. Likewise, with Dunedin, we will be swapping out diesel buses for electric buses in Queenstown. And for some routes, we will have new high capacity buses. These are buses that will carry around 2 times as many passengers than the buses on the fleet that we have now do. These buses are needed to cope with the demand for public transport as new residents arrive in Queenstown as it continues to grow, and also to support continued and growing patronage for tourists who are returning in huge numbers post-COVID. Council has also heard from some communities that do not currently have public transport, and we are proposing to investigate options for services in Oamaru and Wanaka, Clyde, Alexandra and Cromwell, and between Balclutha and Dunedin. These new services still need to be fully designed in consultation with the local councils and the communities themselves. Public transport is funded in part from the fare revenue that we get, so we want our services to be popular and to appeal to people. We intend to maintain a low fare structure at this stage, but this fare revenue doesn't cost running buses. This doesn't happen anywhere in the country, and usually not anywhere in the world. So we receive co-funding from the New Zealand Transport Agency for the cost of providing public transport at around half, and the rest is what is in the rating proposal.
Excellent. That's it, Lorraine, I think. Thank you so much. So yeah, again, another opportunity to have a think about the types of service that we're proposing to provide here. There is some increases in service we're excited about, but we want to hear whether or not the community is wanting to get behind these or has other ideas as well. So yeah, the final presentation that we've got is around our flood and drainage infrastructure and proposals there, and we'll hand over to Pam.
Hello everyone, can you hear me okay? Excellent. I'm Pam Wilson and I'm part of our engineering team, and today I'm here to share a little bit about ORC's draft infrastructure strategy. So we provide flood protection and drainage to around 43,000 hectares of land in Otago. That's rural and urban land. It includes, for example, flood protection and or drainage schemes in Alexandra, the Water of Leith and Dunedin, the Lower Clutha and the Lower Taieri, among some others. Overall, we are responsible for 218 kilometres of flood banks, 14 pump stations, 42 bridges, 535 kilometres of drains, 369 culverts and some other structures. Some of those other structures, such as groins, rockwork and training lines, exist outside of our scheme areas and all over Otago. This includes things like the rock buttress at Albertown and a training line on the lower Shotover River Delta. That's just to name a couple of examples. So we've drafted a new infrastructure strategy for these schemes and this infrastructure, outlining how we will maintain these key assets over the next 30 years. The document contains a lot more detail about the infrastructure that I've summed up on this slide, and includes details and maps of our schemes and infrastructure located across Otago. Importantly, our draft infrastructure strategy identifies some significant issues that are likely to impact on the management of our flood protection, drainage and river management assets within the 30-year lifetime of the strategy. It's important that we identify these issues and how we might address them, as the lifespan of this infrastructure is well beyond the 10-year long-term plan period. The scale and importance of this infrastructure in contributing to overall community resilience means that within the lifetime of the strategy, and particularly the first 10 years, some key decisions will need to be made in relation to the levels of service and resilience provided, and both decision-making with councils and communities and eventually the implementation of any solutions takes time. There's some significant challenges that we face in the management of this infrastructure. Things like climate change, natural hazards, land use change, legislative and regulatory changes, infrastructure condition and funding. Ultimately, what underpins all of this is the level of risk that communities and our infrastructure are exposed to as we face these challenges, the risk we're all willing to tolerate, and how we might look to close that gap. Some solutions may involve more nature-based solutions or maintaining or building resilience in the infrastructure that we have. There is more detail about each of these decision points, the principal options, scale of costs, and assumptions made in the draft infrastructure strategy. So we have around 315 million in upgrades and infrastructure renewals planned, with 67 million of this in the next 10 years. You will find our proposed investment program within the draft infrastructure strategy that forms part of the online consultation material. That provides more detail about the work we're proposing to do, where and when. There is also an interactive map that you can find on our flood protection and river management page of the ORC website, linked on this slide. And that's under the proposed infrastructure investment program tab. This is handy if you want to use it to type in your address to see what's happening in your area. And we do encourage you to take a look at this to learn more about our proposed work programs. And that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Pam. And like many of our work programs there, you'll see that there's a depth of information that you can readily access through our website as well. So that's going to be really useful in shaping up submissions. So at this point then, we'd like to open up for any questions if there are any today. Feel free to raise your hand, or if you want to get typing, then type us a chat as well. We'll just give a little bit of time for that to happen. And Vanessa, if you can signal whether or not you can see any questions. At the moment, I'm not. Okay, we may not have any questions today. So what I'm thinking we might do at this point then is open up if any of our councillors would like to say anything at this point, remembering that this will be a really fantastic record and resource on our website as well for anyone that wants to jump on and learn more about what we're proposing. If any councillors wanted any thoughts or just reflections on their week out and about on consultation around the region, now would be a good opportunity as well. Who have we got there? We might have Alan anyway. Did you want to say something, Alan?
Yes, okay, thank you very much. And I've just thought of a question too. I'll put that in a moment. No, it's really good to have this opportunity. And I know a lot of the focus is often about how much rates we're paying. But the discussion here has actually been really good because we're focusing on the work that's getting done and the services that the regional council provides. And I think that is so important because whether it's around enhancing the environment or protecting our people and communities from natural hazards, or about providing public transport, those services are actually so very, very important for our communities. And of course, they do have to be paid for. Now, look, the question that has occurred to me, and someone might be able to help me with this, it's around the environmental funding. And I know the Regional Council has been supporting predator-free Dunedin for quite some years. I'm just wondering if someone just can fill me in for my knowledge, what ongoing support in the 24 to 25 year and perhaps beyond has been committed by the Regional Council to predator-free Dunedin, or whether that is waiting for decisions and might tie in with the proposal for that large-scale environmental funding.
I can answer that, Councillor Somerville, if that's all right. There is no commitment at the moment to further funding for predator-free Dunedin. And yes, it would tie into EcoFund, the funding we already have. If they require something, they can apply through that or through our large-scale funding that we had available for this year. But yes, it would tie into that incentive funding that we have put forward as an option going forward.
Yeah, right. Thank you. So that again points to the importance of having some funding mechanism for those big projects, whether they're in Dunedin or up in the mountains or wherever. Yep, thank you very much. And thanks for the opportunity to comment, Gretchen.
Thanks, Alan. That's great. I can see that Councillor McCall is here as well. Not sure if he's driving or not on this call, so I'll just give a quick. Oh, there he is. Welcome, Councillor McCall. Did you want to say something?
Kia ora koutou. Thank you, Gretchen, for giving us plenty of notice prior to going. Being out and about around the long-term plan has been really interesting and been good. The level of engagement may not be as high as what we would have liked, but the level that we've been engaging has been really awesome. So the people have come along and they've very much expressed their views and given some good ideas as well. So it's been a really good exercise. Probably I'm actually a little bit like Alan around the environmental fund as well. That it's surprised me that there's not been a lot of pushback on the environmental fund supporting our environmental initiatives, which is really encouraging. And that, once you sit down and talk with them and you understand that the funding is like based on a targeted system. So the funding comes out of, say, the Clutha district, the funds are spent in the Clutha district sort of thing as well. So I think that's been really good. I think there's been, once you talk through stuff around transport as well, there's always a little bit of angst to start with around having 20% going Otago wide in the rating base, but when you actually sit down and talk about the benefits and the costs and benefits for all of Otago, everybody understands and ends up being pretty supportive of it as well, which is really quite interesting. And I think that's probably, I think that's because of the work that's been done in the background with Lorraine and Nick and co, and the staff, and with Libby and her team with the environmental funding one, because it's sort of, they found the needs and then worked out ways to fill the needs and to give people options. And for me, it's really about, giving the ratepayers, or the people of Otago, options as to where they think the money's best invested. But in the drainage schemes as well, once again, there's a wee bit of once you actually talk with people with what the proposals are, it makes a whole lot more sense. It's always going to be an interesting one because you've always got differing views again. But once again, people they're actually happy that we're thinking about it, and that's the main thing that we've once again highlighted a need and looking at ways that we can make it better or more equitable. So I think it's been a really good process, and we really do encourage people to put in their submissions, because we will look at all the submissions and the submissions do count. So thanks very much for the opportunity. I guess it's all very good. And I just like to say, just while I'm there, I'd just like to thank all the staff as well, not just the ones that are on screen today, but all the staff that are in behind the scenes that have been putting all the numbers together and doing. It's been a really involved process. Started off with strategy planning, all the way through to getting through to quite detailed work programs. So I think I just want to do a big mihi out to all the staff that have been involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lloyd. Yeah, we've got an awesome team of people here. I think we might have a question, do we?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a question about the environmental fund go into any wilding pines control?
Libby.
Yes, I'm just reading the question. So yes, there has been prior national funding given to wilding pine pest control, and that we have a commitment from MPI that will be ongoing, but it will be at a reduced rate from what we've had in the past. So we think we'll probably get about $1 million to undertake that work, but that's not going to give us enough to do more than maintaining what we're already achieving. And then the following question is around understand that the Biosecurity Act places obligations on owners and don't think this is well communicated to landowners. So we can do some work on that. That's fine, and ensure that we're communicating that yes, the Biosecurity Act does place obligations on land occupiers to ensure that they are meeting the rules in our regional pest management plan. So the environmental fund, it could go towards wild and pine control. We haven't defined where that funding would go yet, because we need to understand how much there is and then figure out the best mechanism for how that can be distributed to groups. So the environmental fund is for community groups to obtain. So it's likely to be a contestable fund, but we haven't gone into that level of detail either yet. So it could go to the community groups that can achieve wild and pine control, but I don't think the intention of it was to go towards ORC delivering wild and control work. And if there's any councillors that may like to jump in there, if I've got that wrong, that would be useful.
I think that's probably it, Libby, but yeah, it just needs to be scoped up a bit more, as you said, in terms of what the community would like to invest in this area first of all, what's affordable, but also what their vision is. We need to have that conversation, like you said, and then be able to decide where best to target our spending. But I think that's probably a fair comment at the moment, that probably wouldn't be going towards ORC's own work. Yep.
But if someone wanted to submit on that, then they could. And if that's where they think the investment needs to be, then please let us know that.
Very good. Well, those were some great questions there. Are there any more coming in?
Gretchen, I'll just jump in and just acknowledge Rachel's just made a comment around potentially us having a Te Reo Māori interpreter for future long-term plan meetings. So great feedback, Rachel, and thank you for that, and something we can definitely consider for just to make sure that those that would like to have a session in Te Reo can feel included. So something we'll certainly take away from that. Thanks for dropping that comment in.
Thanks, Richard, and that is a very constructive comment for us to take away. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Rachel. Anything else? Looks like we might be drawing to a close on this session, but yeah, obviously, as I've said, our ears are open. We're in the middle of consultation. We're about to do formal consultation through the submission part rather than the drop-in sessions or online sessions. So if you'd like to have a say, we'd strongly encourage that. And if you would like to ask any questions of us as well, we love that. We are always here on the end of the phone. So feel free to give us a call as well, and we can direct your call through to whoever can best answer that within our organisation too. So don't feel as though your opportunity to ask questions has now finished. Okay, so yeah, as I said, we are going to be sharing this recording onto our website. And yeah, if you'd like to refer to our website, then there's a huge amount of useful information there. You've heard about some of that today. Really encourage you to go along and have a look at that rates calculator. It's a really good place to start in terms of what does that mean for me? Is this affordable? Are these the types of services that I feel are important? And yeah, really encourage you to have your say. So yeah, consultation closes on the 28th of April, and then following that, anyone who has requested to speak on their submission is welcome to come along to a hearing, which will be held on the 20th or 21st of May. We try to keep that as welcoming and encouraging of community participation as we possibly can. A hearing sounds a little bit daunting to some, but really encourage people to come along. We love hearing from you in person as well. So we'll deliberate on all the feedback that we receive, whether it's written or whether it's through the personal presentation at a hearing. We'll take all that on board, deliberate, and we will be adopting a long-term plan on the 26th of June, and our work program starts on the 1st of July. So thank you again, and we really look forward to receiving your submission. I'm going to close today with karakia. Kia tau te rangi Māori ki runga I ngā iwi o te ao. Let peace reign on all the peoples of the world. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.